Good morning and welcome to the trade setup right here on BloombergQuint Live. I'm just trying to ensure that my voice reaches all of you properly. And it's an interesting day of trade simply because the cues from the global context aren't the best, but we have our own local cues which are mildly positive, and therefore I think we should all pay heed to those as well. Quickly first tell you what happened in the world markets, and the US markets had a bit of an off day in trade yesterday. So these markets were down about a percent and a half, and I reckon that should play spoil sport for the sentiment around. By the way, volatility in the US markets are now on the rise. I mean, almost every single day that I've seen the CBOE VIX, it's been on an uptrend. Maybe we'll be able to show you how the CBOE VIX has performed. Look at that. Over a 10-day period from the baseline, which was sub 25, I think it's moved up now to 29.30. So CBOE VIX certainly has risen, was very high on 4th. It's come off a little bit, but still higher. Asia, and it didn't slip as much as the other market or the US markets did, the Asian screen. To be honest, when I saw it early morning in trade, most of the Asian markets were still okay compared to what the US markets were doing. And maybe a part of the reason could be that the US futures are trading mildly in the positive. However, let's wait and watch how it shapes up during the course of the day. SGX Nifty will come up on your screen, was trading lackluster the last I checked, and I don't know if it's mirroring Asia or mirroring the US markets currently, but again will come up on your screen and could be an indication of how we would do. But remember, yesterday SGX Nifty was very deceptive. It was showing a flat start and we opened about a percent higher and then trended higher. So it's not necessary that what the SGX Nifty is saying is something that we may even start off with, but let's wait and watch. Now, the point is that the trade setup is, I think it's mildly positive. I mean, the cues may be negative, but frankly, the Reliance was the sole reason for the index up move, right? You could argue that BPCL was there, Asian Paints was there, but they were small tunes really. But Reliance was the sole reason. The key is that the broader market strength was laudable. The advanced decline ratio was in the positive. The number of gainers gaining were in double digits, a number of them, and therefore that was actually the positive aspect of tomorrow's session, and not just the Nifty led by Reliance. I think the volatility will be high and positional trades would be risky. I think the last few days have shown that except for maybe a Reliance or some of the others, positional trades are turning out to be poor. It's happened in steel, it happened in banks, it happens in telecom. So be careful of positional trades. Maybe day trades won't be a better thing for a trader. The only thing that I believe could happen, and I'm contrarian out here, is that the Nifty Bank, which is corrected about 9.5% from August 31st highs already, could actually have a lower momentum on the downside now. I think the downward momentum on the Nifty Bank would recede. Let's wait and watch. There is a Morgan Stanley note today, by the way, which is up the targets on all private sector banks. I'm not saying that's why private sector banks will move, but you have to be mindful of that. Read the tea leaves and don't just follow what the market or the screen is telling you on a day gone behind. So that's the key thing that all of us should keep in mind. And it's a heavy PSU earnings day, by the way. There is BHEL, there is IRCTC, Mishra Dhatu Nigam, Rail Vikas Nigam, all tiny tunes, but a lot of PSU flavor out there. In amongst stocks to watch, I would particularly pay heed to the kind of long buildup that we saw in select names in trade yesterday. So I would reckon that all of us should, simply because the momentum in some of those was very, very strong. Look at that. Adani, BPCL, Asian Paints, all of them had double-digit OI change. So fresh long positions built there. And of course, big boy Reliance Industries. Not only did it trap the call writers on the wrong side, a lot of people had written calls on Reliance of 2300, 2400, thinking that there are no fresh triggers. And all of them had to scurry for cover. But on the futures side, there was a long buildup that we saw in Reliance Industries. Now, the key is, would the market be disappointed with the statement that Reliance has put out? My guess is not. This is what they are saying, that a company does not comment on media speculation and rumors. They cannot confirm or deny any transaction. That's the key thing. Nowadays, the street reads into non-confirming or non-denying as a deal having happened. That's the beauty. So will Reliance correct today? I don't know. Will it be bought into at lower levels? My conversation with traders and fund managers seems to suggest it would. So keep that in mind. I'm not trying to predict what Reliance would do, frankly. It's a stock that has run up quite handsomely, but there could be more in store. The other one is InfoEdge. Zomato has closed the primary fundraise of $100 million from Tiger Global and $60 million from Temasek Holdings. And this values Zomato at $3.3 billion. InfoEdge's stake is at 22.2%, which is, well, a small fraction of what InfoEdge's individual market cap is at. Well, but this should give a further trigger to a stock which I admit is terribly expensive. But I mean, if you value it on a PE basis, a lot of people value InfoEdge on a SOTP, which I think is a better way to value, because it's clutch of businesses which need to be valued individually. So if you see tweets about, oh, InfoEdge is at 100 times, 120 times, it's not the right way to value InfoEdge in the first place. So please be mindful of that. ITI, we spoke to the management day before. Yesterday, the stock went up about 14%. They won a 7,800 crore order from Indian Army. It was anyways declared L1 for the project in 2017. And my only point is ITI management said that the order book is 11,000 crores. I don't know if it included this order or no. Frankly, I was in no perspective. I had no idea of asking them about an L1 in 2017, whether that's been considered or no in the order book. But if not, then cumulatively takes their order book to 18,000 crores for revenues worth 2,000 crores. I mean, mind you, it's an expensive PSU name, but it worth a look at depending on the size of the order book and the execution prowess of the company. So do watch out for ITI. It's already rallied, mind you, yesterday, but could be an interesting stock in the session today. India Energy Exchange, amidst all the rumors of whether Dalmia Bharat is wanting to exit IEX, hey, they're adding more IEX. So they've acquired 1.72% at 190 rupees per share. And I think this takes their stake considerably higher on Indian Energy Exchange. So let's wait and watch out. Remember, a few days back, Parag Parikh Financial Advisory Services also bought into this stock. Dalmia Bharat is increasing its stake. Could be an interesting one to monitor. Last but not the least, in terms of stocks, watch out for this Motilal Oswal note on Tata Motors, and therefore watch out for the stock. They've maintained the buy. The target price is 227, which is a substantial upside from a current price of 143. They've revised their earnings estimates by 84% on a low base for FY22. So FY21 will be a low base, and therefore FY22 they believe will see an uptick of 84%. The revision is driven by the volume upgrades in India, CV and the PV segment, and revision is also driven by the EBITDA margin expansion, both for the India and the JLR business. So that's their rationale. They believe the stock currently trades at about 2.7 times EV EBITDA and 1 times price to book, which according to Motilal Oswal is cheap. Now, this stock has always been cheap in the last 6, 7, 8 years that I have now tracked Tata Motors. But, well, could it turn around? That's the key question. They've got the right men now at the helm with Chandra at top of Tata's sons. He wants to turn around businesses, and we know what Chandra has done with TCS, right, in his tenure. So, which is why I think the re-rating that's happened in Tata Consumer, a whole host of other Tata Group stocks as well. So do watch out. Could be an interesting one. Tata Motors today. Last but not the least, like I said, India has some positive cues. I think what PTI is reporting, and I'm merely quoting PTI. This story would be there on our website too, but we are just essentially saying what PTI is saying, which is that our External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, and the Chinese counterpart, Wang, agreed that the border troops of India and China should continue dialogue, disengage, and ease tensions. This has been a bit of an overhang for Indian markets as well in the minds of smart money. And if indeed this de-escalates, then it's actually a positive sign. So you never know. With this statement and a few other things, and Reliance Industries, if it continues to outperform, you might actually have a pretty decent morning, but I'm not predicting anything. The only thing that I believe is that the bank Nifty momentum on the downside would recede, and that's probably a good sign. Happy trading, everybody. Have a good Friday. Thanks so much for tuning in.